Thank you everyone for joining this special webinar. And as part of the Sogeti Global Gaming Hackathon, we are running these webinars so that people can get familiar with the challenges, understand how things are going to run. So I take pleasure to introduce to you all Dan Ellis. He's Director Partnerships at Code Red Esports. Code Red Esports is an agency from UK and they are our partner for this hackathon and they have helped us craft out the challenges. So without further ado, I hand over the mic to Dan. Dan, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for taking the time today to come and listen to the webinar. If everyone could just make sure their mics are muted, there'll be time for questions at the end. If you want to ask a question during the presentation, then just maybe write it in the chat and then we can come to it towards the end of the presentation. This webinar is just going to go through each challenge in a bit more detail. Hopefully you've all had a chance to check out the website and see what the challenges are specifically, the 3 challenges that we set out to you for this hackathon. And just as a reminder as well, there is of course the Sogeti Hackathon Discord, where after this call, if you have further questions for me or any of the team, feel free to jump in the Discord and drop me a message in there. So just revisiting the 3 challenges again. So the first challenge is AI in gaming innovation. So the goal here is about the experience of the end user. So what that's going to be like for the person playing that game. How we can harness AI to transform the industry for gamers. So this includes everything from using AI to enhance sustainability or reduce energy consumption, and also make the experience for the end user unique. There'll be some examples that we come to later on, but that's what AI in game innovation means. The second challenge is building communities. So this is about ensuring that different communities are engaged, happy, and supported. Now that can mean communities that are housed within things like Discord or Reddit, or that can mean communities that are more generalized. So for example, if you play League of Legends, then you might consider yourself part of the League of Legends community. Or if you're a cosplayer, you might consider yourself part of the cosplay community. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be housed somewhere, but that's something to consider. And how we can leverage AI to reward players or people that are part of those communities, and how we can help support the individuals within those communities and make them feel more welcome, safer, and most importantly, thrive in non-toxic environments. And then finally, the last challenge that we have is aiding game studios and developers. So this challenge is about the back end. So whereas AI in game innovation challenge is about the user experience, this challenge, aiding game studios and developers, is about the back end. So how we can streamline the process, and also we need to ensure that using AI isn't going to be a replacement for people. We want AI to be an assistant. We don't want there to be, more of an influx of redundancies in the industry. We want to keep making sure that there are jobs for people in the industry and AI doesn't take over them. So that's something that we need to consider as well. Now, before we move on to each challenge individually, I just wanted to introduce you to the judging panel. And with me on this call today, I have Ash Ligori. I hope I said your name right there, Ash. I've been practicing all day. But Ash was the marketing manager at Our Rock Digital. I hope I'm saying that right as well. And she is going to be on the judging panel along with myself. We've also got, not on the call is everyone else at the moment, but Sean Hovarth. He is the Chief Revenue Officer at GameSquare, which is the company that owns Code Red. GameSquare also own FaZe Clan, if you've heard of them, Complexity Esports, and a number of other different proprietors in the gaming and esports world. Most notably, Ninja is the Chief Innovation Officer for GameSquare, so in some roundabout way, he's actually my boss, even though he doesn't know I exist. Then we also have Perry Carriel. She is a Twitch streamer. If you Google her name, you will see that she has completed Elden Ring by using a EEG controller. Basically, she used mind control to play Elden Ring, and she is going to be fantastic in judging your AI capabilities with this. And then finally, joining us on the webinar tomorrow will be Aaron Baker from the studio Bulkhead. They are currently working on a new game called War Dogs, and they also recently released Battalion. They are part of the Tencent group. Okay, moving on. So, um, by the way, Ash, if you want to jump in at any point, feel free, or if you want to add something, just feel free. Just let me know if there's anything you want to add to each part of this. Okay, so we're going to be jumping into what AI in gaming innovation actually is. So we need to understand the foundation. So it's not just about creating smarter game opponents, for example. It's about utilizing AI to craft dynamic, adaptive, and personalized gaming experiences. So we can create intelligent game environments to responsive narratives. It's about reshaping the way that games are played and experienced. So for your challenge, you should concentrate on how AI can enhance the player's experience, like I said about the end user's experience, right? That includes AI driven mechanics, dynamic storytelling, personalized gameplay, and then integration into things like virtual reality or augmented reality. So think of it as a tool to create more immersive and engaging experiences. So I think a bit more on that is like imagine a game that changes every time you play. So it doesn't necessarily mean that a game that has multiple endings, like something like Mass Effect or Starfield, just by making choices in those games, yeah, you can choose between some different endings. I'm talking about how AI could potentially make it so that every single person that has ever played that game has a different experience, and then you have a different experience every single time that you play. That is something that AI could exactly. It could be good for NPCs. There is something out there at the moment. It's just in demo form. I cannot remember what it's called. You'd have to forgive me. I'll find it after this call and put it in the Discord. But it's some new tech from Nvidia, and essentially it is AI conversations with NPCs, and it they have no predetermined script. They just react to what you say to them. And then of course, we need to look to the future. So the potential of AI in gaming innovation is vast, and then there's advancements in machine learning and neural networks that open up new possibilities. We're obviously on the brink of experience games with AI-driven narratives that evolve whilst the player plays, and then again with evolving worlds whilst the player plays over time. And it's paving the way for a new era of interactive entertainment, essentially. So, some examples in our history of gaming when it comes to AI gaming innovation. Three examples that you've probably heard of. I chose here. The first one was Left 4 Dead. Now, Left 4 Dead is quite an old game now. I think it came out in like 2009, 2010. But Left 4 Dead um, introduced the AI director system, and essentially what that did was the better you were at the game, the harder it got. That's as simple as I can put it. And at the time, obviously, that was fairly revolutionary. These days, it's almost expected, but during that era of early Xbox 360, PS3 days, it was revolutionary, and it's still praised to this day. Um, the Last of Us Part Two had very AI-driven NPCs, lifelike NPCs that reacted to what the player did, and there was complex decision making processes as well, like seeking cover or coordinating with the other NPCs, and then obviously responding emotionally in different situations as well. And then finally, everyone's familiar with Minecraft. AI is used to govern the behavior of various game entities, so things like animals or creatures and the villagers. And then the characters have behaviors like following or fleeing and attacking based on the specific environmental stimuli. Um, so it just adds a depth of gameplay by creating the world more dynamic. So here's a couple of suggestions on how you can potentially apply this to your ideas. But when you come up with your ideas, think about how AI generated content could lead to infinitely replayable games. What innovations can use predictive analytics to bring player engagement? And then AI in gaming obviously opens a world where games are uniquely experienced by each individual player. So as you develop your ideas for this challenge, think about how your solution can pioneer new gaming paradigms. So with these applications, you've got adaptive AI, you've got AI generated content, and then you've got predictive analytics. Um, just to reassure everyone, I'll be sharing this deck with Schmitty and in the Discord as well. So if you guys want to take a read of this afterwards, by all means, it will be available to you. Okay, so that is AI in gaming innovation in a nutshell. Now we can move on to building communities. So as I mentioned before, there's lots of different ways to think about communities, whether it's housed in Discord or Reddit, or speaking more generally, like like I said, the cosplay community or the League of Legends community. But we're obviously talking about the bigger picture here. It's about communities being people who have a shared interest, so it doesn't necessarily need to be housed somewhere. And then AI is actually already making strides with gaming communities. So the use of AI in gaming communities at the moment primarily focuses on enhancing player interaction. So, for example, in games where communication is key, AI can track if these people are being toxic or if they're being friendly, and then issue them with warnings or punishments if they're not adhering to the game's T's and C's. It can also play a crucial role in community management, so it can monitor online conversations and flag inappropriate behavior. So it means that the role of a community manager can be focused on more bigger picture issues and projects, and then leave the more trivial things to the AI essentially. And then finally, an essential aspect of building communities is promoting sustainable gaming practices, which is another thing that the judges will be looking for in your ideas is how sustainable these things are. So AI can be employed to encourage responsible behavior, also potentially reward players for eco-friendly actions like not overclocking their machines or not leaving their PCs on overnight, or turning their consoles off when they don't need to be left on, etc. I think that could be another thing that builds these communities. So some examples for AI already being used to build communities is within League of Legends. I've mentioned League of Legends a few times now. I don't actually play it, but I'm familiar with it. So Riot implemented an AI system to monitor and manage community interactions in their games. So it detects and addresses toxic behavior, hate speech, and harassment, and then those offenders will get punished. And of course, this will eventually contribute to a healthier online community. Something really cool is obviously platforms like Steam use AI to personalize game recommendations. There'll be a little bit more on that in the next slide when it comes to applications. But this, of course, enhances the experience, and of course, for Steam as well, it ensures that people continuously buy games that they obviously will never play. I don't know about you guys, but I have a Steam library that's full of games I've been recommended but I've not played yet. And then, of course, in community engagement, Fortnite has employed AI to manage their in-game events and adapt them to real time based on player participation and responses. So, a couple of the different ways that your idea could be applied. An AI personal assistant. Now, this is potentially my favorite one that we could have. Is imagine a personal assistant that sits within Steam, um, that not only just guide you to what new games to try based on your experiences, but they offer personalized tips. They suggest communities based on your interests, and it's about and ways that you play those games. So you could play a first-person shooter, a very entry level, um, you have a very, very low level skill of playing a first person shooter. This AI personal assistant will know that and recommend to you other games that you can play in a similar way, and communities where individuals have a similar skill level to you. So this personal assistant will sit directly within platforms like Steam or even the Xbox Game Store or PlayStation Game Store, and recommend games to you based on the way you play games, the way you interact with those games, and obviously your buying history as well. So it's a personal assistant. It's not just a list of games that have been recommended to you. Obviously, you can have enhanced matchmaking systems. So again, this goes beyond just your skill. This can analyze what types of character you like to play in online games. So, for example, if you play Valorant and you like to play a more support role, that will put you with players that don't prefer to play a support role. So you can always ensure that your preferred role is always locked in by you. And then, of course, it will match players with other people who are potentially, if you are quite introverted, it will match you with other introverts and vice versa. And then finally, um, with community feedback analysis, you can consider the vast amount of feedback that's generated by a gaming community. So AI can sift through the data, identifying common issues and trends and player sentiments. So the analysis will be valuable for developers and community managers alike, enable them to address concerns proactively and tailor updates and events that actually resonate with the community, so the community feels like they're being heard. Ash, I wondered if you had anything to say on that part, because obviously, um, with you and your Twitch streaming past, with you building communities, I wondered if any of that would resonate with you at all. If not, absolutely fine. I'll continue to move on.
I'm just wondering maybe if it would
Okay.
apply. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Oh,
Eric.
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
No, I was just thinking about because he had mentioned a player having a certain support role, right? And so I'm thinking about EA Sports, right? I'm a footballer, right? I love soccer. I love um, the sports oriented side of the gaming, right? And so if I'm a defender, right, and I just happen to be a Manchester United fan, right? Not that that's just hypothetical, right? And so the AI can link me with perhaps a midfielder and then
exactly.
a striker and a keeper. And so we have those four core elements of a team. And so by knowing my supported role and my favorite role, right, being a defender, is my line of thinking and my application of this AI more and less in line, but with a different scenario?
Correct. 100%.
Okay,
Yep, exactly right.
great.
Exactly
Thank
right.
you.
You're welcome. Yeah, Ash, sorry.
And things would be really handy, Twitch communities especially, and also
Oh, Ash, we lost you there. Sorry. You're a little bit laggy. I'll um
We can't hear you. Yeah.
I'll come back to you, Ash, because yeah, it's your voice is cutting out. It sounded like a walkie-talkie on its last legs. But I'll come back to you at the end before we go to Q&A, see if you can we can hear from you. It's okay. Okay, so the final challenge that we're diving into a bit more is obviously aiding game studios and developers. So for your ideas, you should focus on the use of AI in the back end processes of game development. So, this obviously includes AI for efficient game design, efficient development, workflow automation, bug detection, etc., AI assisted game testing, and then, you can use it for market analysis and player behavior insights. So AI is a tool to streamline and optimize the game development process, making it more efficient and cost effective. And again, we want to make sure that when we're thinking about our ideas, that we don't want to um, replace humans. We don't want to replace jobs. We want them to assist, make things more sustainable, etc. Um, Three examples of AI being used to support game studios and developers. First and foremost is Microsoft's PlayFab. So they offer services for automated game testing. So it uses AI to simulate thousands of game sessions in a very short amount of time. And obviously, this helps the developers fix bugs more efficiently than the traditional methods. Unity has been developing AI tools that assist game developers. There is now um, text input that you can text an AI text input support on there now, um, and a personal assistant essentially, which is used to support when developing games. And they obviously offer solutions that that use AI to automate the creation of complex assets as well. And then finally, AI is currently being implemented by EA to analyze player data in games like EAFC and Madden to understand players' preferences and behaviors. And then this helps them tailor the game features and updates to enhance player engagement. Um, Three applications that you could put AI to help game studios and developers. We briefly touched on this earlier, but creating dynamic game worlds that adapt drastically with AI, so it can be changed based on player interactions. And then again, we're looking at creating brand new experiences. Um, AI can also be could contribute to the way a story is developed. So multiple choice games are very popular, especially with Baldur's Gate taking all the awards at the Game Awards recently. That has, I believe, 17,000 different endings. Imagine if you could have 17 billion different endings because of AI. And then finally, AI could have the ability to efficiently manage resources for online games. So for online games, AI algorithms can optimize server loads. So it can predict traffic during peak times, and then this can ensure smooth gameplay experiences whilst minimizing resource wastage and operational costs. And of course, it's better for the overall player experience because there'll be less if you've ever been kicked from a game and you can't understand why your connection's still up and running, generally due to servers being overloaded. This would not happen anymore. Okay, Ash, let's see if we can hear from you again. Let's see if your internet is doing its thing.
Sorry, my internet is really bad. I probably should just pass.
It's okay, no worries. Ash will obviously be on the judging panel, and if you've got any questions for her, then I can pass them on. But yeah, this is now time. If you've got a question, then yeah, feel free to ask.
Thank you, Dan. Guys, you can unmute yourselves and we can use this opportunity to get your questions answered, perhaps.
If you don't have any questions now, that's absolutely fine. It's potentially quite a lot to take in. But like I said, if you are all in the Sogeti Hackathon Discord, please ask me questions in there. I've just put a link in the chat. If you're not already in the server, just click that link and it will take you straight to it. But feel free to ask me any questions. And Smriti will share. Well, I'm assuming she will. If Smriti, could you share the deck that I've just presented to everyone in here?
Of course. Of
Well, I
course.
have one question, Dan. Sorry, this is Jeba Abraham from Sogeti, US. There was this
Yeah, Jeba.
there was the Intel bonus, right, in terms of the judgment criteria. I didn't see any information shared on that. Do you have more information to share at this time?
Quinton's on the call. I'll let Quinton cover that if that's
Yes.
all right, Quinton. That's a very Intel-specific question.
So to answer your question, yes, there will be some webinars for next week. I'll talk with that for you first, Smriti, about the two toolkits that we are pushing forward for this hackathon, which are OpenVINO within a toolkit, again, the Dev AI toolkit, especially implemented in Unity, and the XCSS solution for supersampling that is working for every GPUs on the market, Intel and NVIDIA and AMD. So these are the
Okay.
technology that we are pushing and we are suggesting you to use. And then for to complete this task that Dan showed today.
Um,
Thanks,
I
Quinny.
have hello?
Hello?
Yeah. Yeah. Hello.
Yes. So I'm curious what type of assets you might have for this thing. You know, like I don't have any information on what's going to be provided. So like you must have some sort of base something that we can work off of, or like, you know, do you have a basic game or something that we can add to, or do we have to pretty much come up with everything from scratch, including like maybe sprites and everything, avatars and or whatever?
So you don't have to come up with everything yourself. You can use a pre-existing game. You can, or it could just be an idea of a game. As long as the idea that you come up with isn't like it's fairly grounded in reality. You know, it's a realistic thing.
Hmm.
If you look at the judging criteria, obviously that's one of the criteria is like, is the idea ready to go to market? Could it go to market? Is one of the judging criteria that we would have. Um, but again, you know, like say for example, if you're, we had a question earlier, like someone is a big football fan, if you could create something that could support the EAFC games, for example, that's fine. Um, you don't have to create your own game. We just want to see something that is tangible. If that makes sense.
Okay, sure. So, but is there any like open source libraries or anything available?
I'm unsure. That's not my realm. Sorry, that
No,
would be
nothing specific to the challenge, I guess. Okay, thank you.
Eric.
Thank you. One last question. So back to your point about presenting an idea or a concept. So a final deliverable could indeed be a deck, and the deck could have the scenario or the solution like mapped out in a graphical way, and we could have, I guess, like a series, right, of like, you know, slide 1 and slide 2, slide 3, etc. But how we would implement this idea or this solution into the game, what the possible outcome could be. It would all be theoretical, and we wouldn't really need to develop anything. Is that a fair statement?
Correct. As long as
Thank
you,
you.
as long as you've, again, like I said, as long as it's grounded in reality, and as long as the Intel toolkits have been utilized in some way, shape, or form as well.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying.
No problem.
Also, Eric, to answer your question, if you have signed up, then you would have received a PowerPoint template which has scope to share all the solution related details in a specific way. So we are encouraging everyone to use a template so that there is some structure, and all the ideas are organized in a certain way, which makes it easy even for the panel to look at what the teams are pitching. So yes.
Could the two of us, after this call is ended, just have a brief sync? I was just introduced to this yesterday, so I'm coming into
Okay.
this with a fresh mindset. So any um, parameters or instructions that you have, I would welcome that conversation when the time and bandwidth permit.
Sure. Feel free to ping me, Eric, if necessary, and if you're forming a team, then the rest of it will come to you automatically. We have a process in place to welcome the teams and set up the space for them to start working on the ideas.
Okay, sounds good. I will definitely ping you.
Yeah, sure.
Hi,
We are
Smriti.
on. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Pooja this side. So my question is, we only have to show the implementation only on PPT based, right? We don't have to showcase it as a live demo or something we have implemented on game or something like that. Am I correct?
Uh,
You don't. You don't
well,
have
I
to.
don't know if. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, you don't have to, but
Okay.
if someone did, then obviously that would
Welcome.
increase their chance
Yeah.
of winning,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So
It
basically,
just
what we
it
have to do, yeah. Yes, Smriti.
No, it's a deck that sort of, like I said, help you structure the ideas. But if there is, I don't know, I don't want to call it a model, but like Dan said, a demo of some sort in which you can actually illustrate the
Mm-hmm.
idea. It just makes for a stronger pitch, right? So it's
Yeah.
less theory and more practical. Then it just gives you, may just win you some brownie points there. Simple as that. So. But yeah, a structured approach would mean you will submit your ideas through a deck, definitely, and then it can develop into more more robust demo or a model of some sort, perhaps. So yeah,
Okay. Understood. So it means we have only one stage, that PPT stage, right? I mean, we have to create that PPT with problem along with the solution, with the
yeah,
implementation. Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Okay. Understood. Thank you.
So we are on
All
the
right,
top
guys.
of the hour. Unless we have any more questions, we could wrap up. And of course, Dan, Quentin, the gentleman from Esports and Intel, respectively, are on the call. So you guys are connected. The recording is available for playback. And last but not the least, we have session 2 coming up tomorrow. So Dan and Quentin will be with us again tomorrow, and with a few more guests. So Ash, sorry you probably were having internet issues. Please feel free to join us tomorrow if you wish to be there. And I think Sogeti Discord is available. If you haven't registered already, please register there and follow the conversations there. And all these experts are there on Discord, so they will help you with the ideas, your queries. So make sure you utilize their expertise and benefit. And in a way, they'll sort of guide you with their ideas. And if you have some thoughts or anything, and fellow participants also will be, you can have discussions of sorts there. And many Sogeti people are already on the Discord thing. So even if they're not competing, they can help you with your ideation and stuff. So please make sure you leverage that. And we'll of course have that, like I said, we'll have the recording and the playback available. And a couple of more webinars from Intel also coming up. We'll publish the schedule shortly, like Quentin mentioned, and we'll go through the Intel kits, toolkits also in those. So we dedicate these webinars to the challenges, and the next few to actually how the Intel toolkits can be used. So your questions regarding that also can be answered. So Jeba, I hope you will join us then. All right.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
See
Thank
in
you
the
everyone
Discord.
for joining. Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
speak
Bye.
soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Good night.
Bye,
Yeah.
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye.
Good
Bye.
night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thanks, bye.
Bye.